Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 9 start and sit video for the running back position. Again, this is full PPR and half PPR. If you have any standard leagues, hit me up in the comments. I'd love to help you out. So let's jump right into it. So week 9 of the NFL is here. We got some great games this week, and only two teams are on a bye. You've got the Steelers and the 49ers not playing this week, so no Najee, no Jordan Mason. But with that said, there are a lot of great matchups, a lot of options at the running back position, and hopefully this video kind of helps clear this up. Now, these are your obvious starts at the running back position. Again, these guys either have great matchups or week in and week out have been able to get you running back 1, maybe running back 2 stats every single week. So again, I love these guys this week. They should be in your lineup. Set it and forget it. Now, the first running back I love this week is going to be Devon Achane versus the Bills. Achane has a great matchup against division rivals this week. In their first meeting, the Bills allowed Achane to have 96 rushing yards, 69 receiving yards with a touchdown as well, putting up 29 fantasy points. Achane will need to be a big piece for the Dolphins this week to have a chance against Buffalo in Buffalo, as well as really taking pressure off of Tua. Now, if you watch my start and sit video for the quarterback position, I wasn't crazy about Tua's matchup this week. I do think there's going to be some mental issues that could possibly come up because of what has happened in the past with him and the concussions. But I do think this is a great matchup. Bills have been allowing 18 points per game and 6 receptions to the running back position. So realistically, Achane should have a great game this week. I really love him in this matchup. Another running back I like this week is going to be Tony Pollard versus the Patriots. Now, there's an asterisk here. Pollard has not been practicing most of this week. I know Tajay Spears is not playing, so there's a chance that Pollard does not go in this one. But if he does, I love the matchup. Pollard is coming off a 14-point performance, which is a nice running back 2 status against a really tough Lions rush defense. They have been one of the best in the league. Now he faces a Patriots team that allows 18 points per game and the 4th most rushing yards per game with 121 yards on the ground. Pollard is currently averaging 14.2 points per game and 70 yards on the ground. He could get close to that 100-yard performance. Titans and Patriots definitely could keep this game close, which would allow Tony Pollard in this game script. But again, make sure you guys are staying, attention to any of the news out there, because there is a chance that Pollard does not play. You just got to pay attention. But if he does play, I like his matchup. Another running back I like this week is going to be DeAndre Swift versus the Cardinals. Swift had an amazing game against the Commanders with his season best 129 rushing yards. He continues his fantasy performance, averaging 22 points per game in the last 4 games. That makes DeAndre Swift the RB1 in the last 4 weeks. Now, he has another solid matchup against the Cardinals, who have allowed an average of 16 points per game, and they just gave up 26 points to Achane last week, who had really been in a bad slump with Tua being out. So I really like, again, DeAndre Swift is a must start this week. And the last running back I'm going to mention is Kareem Hunt versus the Bucs. Hunt has been a very solid fantasy option since rejoining the Chiefs after losing Pacheco to IR. So far, Hunt is averaging 16.2 points per game and has scored 4 touchdowns in the 4 games he has played. He now faces a Bucs team that has been allowing 16.5 points per game and have allowed a touchdown per game to the running back position. So this is a really good matchup. And anybody who's got Kareem Hunt, if you can, depending on how this injury is with Pacheco, I would consider start looking to trade Hunt away after this weekend, because there's a chance Pacheco comes back. We're not sure exactly how the Kansas City Chiefs are going to utilize both running backs. But with that said, Kareem Hunt should start. Now, jumping into the sit category, I'm going to sit Nick Chubb this week versus the Chargers. Look, Nick Chubb is still getting his legs back, right? He's trying to get everything after a really tough offseason of rehab off of a really serious knee injury from last season. Now, he faces a tough Chargers run defense that has only allowed 2 touchdowns to running backs this season, and the last time being week 4. Chargers have kept running backs to 12 points per game and only allowing 62 yards on the ground. So Nick Chubb does not have a great matchup. I would sit him this week. Now, another running back I'm not in love with this week is going to be James Conner versus the Bears. James Conner has been on my good list for the most part of this year, and he's currently running back 14 this year, making him a really good running back 2 week in and week out. And he's really started off the year strong. He has had some mediocre games, which has kind of kept him out of that top 10 performance. But this week, I'm not in love with him as far as this matchup. The Bears actually have been a really good run defense. They've actually allowed only an average of 14 points per game and only have given up one 100-yard game this season to a running back. This is definitely a game that I think between the two offenses, I think it's going to be a more Caleb and Kyler Murray game. I do think James Conner, if you got him, depending on what your depth looks like, you're probably still going to start him, and you're probably going to get 10 to 12 points. It's going to be okay. I'm just not going to be wowed. I don't love this matchup for him. Another running back I'm not crazy about is going to be J.K. Dobbins versus the Browns. Dobbins is going against a tough Browns run defense that is only allowing 12 points per game and have yet to allow more than 73 rushing yards this season. They also have done a really great job keeping running backs to only 2 receptions per game or less. So Dobbins has not been obviously the most dynamic running back in the receiving aspect, so you're not going to get a lot of points out of that. And on top of that, the Browns have actually been keeping running backs really, really low as far as per average. Now, Dobbins has been great. He earned the starting job after having an amazing start of the season, but he's gotten games where he's giving you 8 points, and he's gotten games where he's giving you 16 points. He's so inconsistent. This is just a really tough matchup. I'm not in love with it. I would try to start someone else if I can, because I think this is going to be a game where Dobbins puts up maybe 6 to 8 points, and that's it. And the last running back I'm going to sit, Chuba Hubbard versus the Saints. Now, you can't go off the first matchup between the two, just because, one, that Saints game was kind of crazy in week 1. Hubbard was also still kind of technically the running back 2 on the team with Miles Sanders starting, I guess. But he did end up earning the starting job. And so Hubbard has been great. And realistically, I think this rivalry matchup makes things a little bit tougher. Now, as of late, I would say this. The Saints have given up 20 points per game in the last 4 games. And normally I would say that trend really shows that Hubbard should be in. But Hubbard himself has been average the last few games. And on top of that, with Bryce Young back as the quarterback 1, and they traded away their best wide receiver in Deontay Johnson, and there's so many other injuries they've got going on, this is going to be a really tough one. I think the Saints will obviously put a lot of focus on stopping the run, putting really this game on Bryce Young's shoulder. So unless the game script is in their favor, I think Hubbard should absolutely sit this week. Now, my running backs for sleepers this week, I've got Josh Jacobs versus the Lions and Chase Brown versus the Raiders. Zach Moss is expected to possibly miss this game, so Chase Brown's in a great position to have some great success. And then Josh Jacobs, I didn't put him as an obvious or a start, but I do like his matchup against the Lions. Lions have been really tough, but I think realistically, they're going to rely on Jacobs, especially if, with the whole Jordan Love injury, there's a chance that maybe Jordan Love just gets limited, where he doesn't play as aggressive. He's not passing as much, but they may not hold him back at all. We'll see how things go out on Sunday and what the injury report looks like, but I still think Josh Jacobs is a nice little sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for week 9. If you guys have questions, hit me up in the comments down below. I'd love to help you guys out. If you guys haven't already, check out all my other start and sit videos for this week and, of course, going forward. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that like button, and I'll check you guys out next time.